and always said, "You're the reason I was born to be your mama."
Hey everyone, my name is Carolina Girl. I'm not a content creator, nor do I want to be one, but I've been around a while and I'd like to talk to you about the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case. This will be somewhat lengthy and I hope you stay with me because I feel like it's important. Gypsy has had 10 years to villainize her mom. When you are trying to clear someone's name that you feel has been wrongfully portrayed to the media and to the public, it's hard to do so in a 5 or 10-minute video, and I do come with receipts, as they say in this community. Most of us in the true crime community know who Gypsy is, but for those that don't, Gypsy Rose and her co-defendant Nicholas Godejohn killed her mother, Claudina Dee Dee Blanchard, who I will refer to from this point on as Dee Dee, back in June of 2015. Gypsy claimed her mother abused her and had Munchausen's by proxy. This is the story she has told to the media and to the public. Dee Dee was never diagnosed with Munchausen's while alive, and you cannot diagnose a dead person. I have said ever since I got involved with this case that I wanted to be a voice for Dee Dee because I didn't believe the narrative Gypsy was putting out. We were just getting one side of the story. Dee Dee didn't get to tell her side. She's not here to admit or deny the allegations that's been made against her. I've always felt that this story was no more than a defense for Gypsy to keep her out of prison for the rest of her life. I'm going to start from when the crime was committed to present. Please understand I cannot fit everything into this video. This is just stuff I have researched and collected over the years. Dee Dee and Gypsy were Hurricane Katrina survivors, and they were transplanted to Missouri, eventually settling in Springfield, where Habitat for Humanity built them this home. Gypsy appeared to be a sickly, wheelchair-bound girl, but she claims her mother forced her to be in a wheelchair and go to unnecessary doctor's appointments. Gypsy and Nick began talking and started an online romance in October of 2012 through an online Christian dating site. Approximately a year into the relationship, Gypsy asked Nick if he would kill her mom. They planned it for over a year through text messages and using Facebook. Gypsy was the mastermind and Nick was the executioner. We have about 2 weeks worth of text messages between Nick and Gypsy from May 27, 2015 to the early morning hours of June 2015. This was the last text Nick sent to Gypsy before he brutally murdered her mother. These texts were used during Nick's trial as evidence. The one on the left is actually from Gypsy, and it's from June 10th, 2015 at 2:05 a.m. She sends it to Nick telling him she's sleeping very light. The defendant, Nick, responds back June 10th, 2015 at 2:07 a.m. "I'm here, get your ass to the bathroom," and you open the door. Nick went into Dee Dee's bedroom in the middle of the night while she slept on her belly. He straddled her. He proceeded to stab her 17 times in the back, cutting her on the back of the neck, almost decapitating her. Out of respect for Dee Dee, I will not show those photos. And those that don't know what straddle is, that means he basically went into Dee Dee's bedroom in the middle of the night while she's sleeping on her belly and sat on her back and stabbed her. After the murder was done, they gathered some of Gypsy's belongings and they headed back to Nick's hotel room.
Hi, honey. I'm feeling it. He's eating a brownie. But later he will be eating me.
They were in Springfield until June 12th when they got on a Greyhound bus and headed back to Wisconsin, arriving in the early morning hours of June 13th. Gypsy and Nick were hanging out at his house on the afternoon of June 14th when Gypsy decided to post this message on her and Dee Dee's joint Facebook account. It was about 3:30 in the afternoon, and their Facebook friends were looking at the post and commenting, but they didn't seem quite sure what to do. It says that bitch is dead. It was made about 3:30 in the afternoon, and as you can see, the friends were commenting, and then all of a sudden, this next comment was made. Now, I'm not going to read this out loud. I'll give you a couple seconds to pause, read it, or screenshot it, whatever you need to do. A couple of the neighbors tried to call Dee Dee and didn't get an answer, so they went to the house. Late afternoon, early evening on the 14th of June, 2015, Dee Dee was discovered dead in her bed. The authorities tracked Nick and Gypsy to Nick's residence in Wisconsin, where they were taken into custody on June 15, 2015. Nick was placed in an interrogation room, and Gypsy was placed in a witness victim room while they were waiting for the detectives from Greene County, Missouri to get to them. I must add that Gypsy here, she looks pretty healthy in her picture. She's 4'11", and for a 4'11" female, I think the average weight was like 96.1 to 123 pounds. So she definitely looks like she's within her normal healthy weight range here. So I'm going to show you a few clips of Gypsy while she waits for the Greene County detectives. Keep in mind, her and Nick were just brought in by the Waukesha SWAT team. The police showed up in the morning, surrounded the house, and when she came out, she said she had red lasers pointed at her chest. So that it was like this big to-do, but she's just kind of like, la, la, la. She's just sitting there.
I'm originally from Missouri, and I came here. My mom kicked me out of the house, and she was like, well, it's time to, grow up. So I got out on my own, and I called my boyfriend, and he lives in Big Bend, and he came down to Springfield to pick me up. Anyway, we took the Greyhound bus, and everything seems fine, and our bus got delayed a little bit, but we got here okay. And then a couple days went by, perfectly normal. All of a sudden we wake up to a loud knock at the door. And like, Waukesha County Police, you're under arrest. And well, he's the only one that's under arrest. I'm not really sure why I'm here. And anyway, they took us, and I'm here. And I don't know what's going on with him.
Okay.
So she was setting her story up for when the Greene County, detectives got to her. In this next clip, she's telling the detective about having to go to the hospital and how she didn't like being in handcuffs. She was embarrassed about being in handcuffs.
They should be coming back to talk about food soon. Then you can ask them your questions.
Then I had to go to the hospital and get some of my medicine because I have a seizure disorder.
Okay.
That's what kind of knocked me out.
Busy day, huh?
It's kind of weird though. People seeing you in handcuffs, they give you this weird look, and I'm like, I didn't do anything. I'm like, okay, I didn't kill nobody. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I didn't do nothing. I'm a good girl.
The detectives from Greene County finally show up, and we're going to look at some clips from Gypsy's interrogation video first. When you're looking at the evidence, you must look, of course, what's in front of you, but you must also look at what's not there, okay? In this first clip, you'll see Gypsy telling Detective Hancock that she has no idea what's going on.
We are here investigating something, so I do need to talk with you about some things, okay?
I'm thankful because I have no idea why I'm here.
Okay.
Nobody will tell me anything.
Yeah, that's fine, and that's kind of why we're here, to kind of help you out with that, okay?
So this next clip, Detective Hancock asked her about her date of birth.
7/27, 1995. On here they have 91 because maybe it's a long story, but
Okay, sure.
me and my mother are Hurricane Katrina survivors,
Okay,
and my birth certificate was washed away in Katrina,
okay.
and unfortunately, they messed up a long time when they messed up the paperwork, and it said 1991, but it's actually 95.
Okay, and that puts you at how old then?
I would be really 19, but on here it's my Medicaid. My medical insurance has 23.
Okay, all right. So how old actually are you? Let's get
19.
19. Okay.
It's all screwed.
Yeah, absolutely. Gypsy, do you know your Social Security?
She lied to him here. She's saying she's 19. She's not 19. She was 23 in this video, and she knew she was 23 in this video. In the next clip, Detective Hancock is asking her if she's got a cell phone or a computer, and to which she denied having either. She stated her mom was overprotective, and notice it was just overprotective.
Do you have a cell phone number?
No.
No, not at all. Did you have a home phone?
My mom's home
Okay,
phone.
what's that number?
417-833-8501.
Okay. 8501. Okay. Do you ever do anything on the computer? Do you ever play games or anything on the computer? Do you ever mess with the computer or anything like that?
I don't really have a computer.
Okay.
No.
Did you ever have a cell phone that you played around on or anything like that? No? Okay. No laptop or
No.
cable
My
fire or
mom
anything?
didn't let me use mine because she was like, it's unsafe. So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Why did she feel like that was unsafe?
My mom tended to be overprotective.
Okay.
But,
Does she?
yeah.
Okay. All right. That's understandable.
Then we get this next 3-minute clip. Detective Hancock asked her to explain how she got from Missouri to Wisconsin. He tells her to be honest with him, and she says she is being 100% completely honest with him.
I want to tell you that what I've got to talk to you about, if you're involved in this, then you need to tell me that now. Okay?
I'm completely 100% honest.
And let me talk for just a second, okay? But if you're involved in this, then you need to be honest with me. You need to tell me now and not wait till later. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want you to understand that there's just some things going on that you need to be made aware of, and I think that you're aware of it, okay? All right? My concern at this point, let me back up with something. You're here, do you know where you're at right now?
Yes.
Okay, where are you at right now?
I'm at the Waukesha Police Department.
Okay. All right, and how did you lived in Missouri at one point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and how did you get from Missouri to here?
Not but a week ago, it was, it all started when, I met my boyfriend, Nick.
Okay.
And, we met on an online dating website. My mom had a laptop, and so I used hers.
Okay.
But,
Let me back up for just a second.
I need to pause it here. Detective Hancock is kind of politely calling her out, and because she just told a fib, basically. She said that, just in the very first, the clip before this, she said that her mom wouldn't let her use a cell phone or computer because she was overprotective. Here she's saying she met Nick online on an online dating site. So Detective Hancock is kind of calling her out because he's like, you just kind of lied to me. I told you to be honest.
Okay. Earlier when I said, let's be honest with each other, okay? I'll be honest with you as long as you're honest with me, okay? And I want you to understand that your honesty goes a long ways, okay? You don't want something in this nature to be like a big snowball. We'll use that as an example, okay? You don't want that snowball to be so big that you know how when you pack a snowball and it's real small, and what happens when you start rolling it down a hill? It's bigger, okay? And what happens if you start telling lies? They get bigger, and you don't remember which ones you said and which ones you told, and as soon as that thing gets so big, it goes down the bottom of the hill and it crashes into a lot of people, okay? I mean, a lot of people, all right? And it hurts a lot of people, right? Because it's so big and it crashes and hurts them. Now, if you're telling the truth, that's not going to happen, is that right?
Right.
Okay, so That's kind of why I want you to be honest with me about this, okay?
Absolutely.
About some things, all right?
Absolutely.
So,
He gave her every opportunity to be honest with him, okay? He gave her every opportunity to be honest. He gave her every opportunity to, hey, I've been suffering all this abuse for all these years. My mom's been, abusing me. I've been, I'm, not sick, and she's, making me, go to these doctor's appointments that I don't need, whatever. None of that. You don't hear any of that. And now she's getting ready to put on the best performance of her life.
sometimes you get dealt bad hand, and I think sometimes that's what's happening with you, okay? And I want you to understand that you need to be honest with me, and if you're involved in anything that I'm about ready to tell you, then you need to tell me, okay? Your mom's dead, okay? Now, what I want to ask you is, your mom's passed away, okay? And she's deceased, all right? Now, what I want to ask you, did you have involvement in this? Okay. Just, hang on, listen to me for just a second, okay? I want you to understand something, okay? Remember the snowball that we talked about? You remember the pencil that we talked about?
And the Emmy goes to Gypsy Rose for Best Dramatic Performance of 2015. She was given every opportunity to be honest with this man and tell him about this abuse she went through, but she continued to act as innocent and claimed she wouldn't hurt her mom.
You know, you've got friends that love you and care for you. You and your mom got friends that care for you. And you know what? They're down the bottom of this hill with that snowball, and they're asking all these questions. They're asking why.
I know.
Now, help me give them an answer as to why. Okay? You have to give me an answer as to why, because they are so concerned about you.
I know. I have a lot of friends in Missouri. I know that.
Okay.
And, I would never hurt my mom.
Okay, sweetheart, do you really want to dig yourself, you're digging yourself deeper, okay?
No, seriously, I would never hurt her.
Listen to me, okay? I don't play around with that, okay? I'm not going to play around with this, okay?
Sir, I didn't do anything.
Listen to me. Don't let that snowball get bigger, because that's what you're doing right now, okay? You have a chance. You have the opportunity right here and right now. Because once I walk out that door and that opportunity's gone, guess what? It's gone. It's just like when that paper's taken away, when you're writing that pencil, you don't have a chance to erase that mistake, okay?
In fact, she states that she loved her mom. Her mom was her best friend, and that she would never hurt her mother.
You know what? We can answer those, okay? But we got to get down to the bottom of why, okay? The why. And your friends are very, very concerned about you. They all love you. But guess what?
Sure.
Those friends are standing at the bottom of that hill.
I understand.
And that snowball
I understand.
is getting ready to crush them because they want to know why.
It's very, very clearly. You think that it's me? Why would you think that it's me? I have always loved my mom. My mom and I are best friends.
Listen to me. Please don't dig yourself in this hole. And that's what you're doing. You're still doing it. Okay?
This last clip of Gypsy's interrogation, Detective Hancock is fed up with Gypsy because she lied through her entire interrogation. The only thing she told the truth about here was she met Nick on the online dating site.
There's a whole lot of stuff you're leaving out, girl.
Like what?
Well, I'm not going to get into it with you, okay? You're leaving a lot of stuff out that you need to probably tell me. You want to talk to me about it? Tell me about it?
Sure, I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
You planned this with him, okay? You didn't get locked in the bathroom, okay? I'm not stupid. First of all, the lock's on this side, so you can't get locked in there. Okay? You went in there because you brought that knife into the picture. You brought the idea into the picture.
I didn't bring the idea.
You did bring it into. You brought the whole thing in the idea.
No.
And he did it for you.
No.
Yeah.
I did not think of this. I know that he has a evil side, and he did want to do it.
Okay, I understand that.
He wanted to get rid of my mom.
Yeah, for you.
Yes, for me.
Yeah, because you asked him to.
He wanted to.
Yeah, because you asked him to. Plain and simple. Gypsy, we're not playing this game, okay? You asked him to. That's why he did it. Okay? Plain and simple. We're not playing this game. I'm not going to spend all my night long listening to your lies anymore. You told me the truth on some things, but you left a lot of stuff out. You left a lot of stuff out. So we're not playing this game, okay? He's already told me everything. Everything.
We're both trying
The knife was mailed. You guys mailed it here, okay? We know where the knife's at. So the gig's up. You're done.
Now we move on to a 4-minute clip of Nick's interrogation. He tried to go with the lie that Gypsy told the Waukesha County Sheriff guy, but in the previous video, but Detective Mahali saw right through him.
What you've told me.
How much have I told you to believe is the truth?
I believe the part that you got on a bus and went to Springfield.
Okay.
I believe that's true.
Okay.
That you ordered food to eat. I believe that's true.
Okay.
I believe that it's true that at some point Gypsy came back with you to the motel. I believe that's true.
Yeah.
I believe Gypsy got on a bus and came here with you. I believe that's true.
Yeah.
That's all I believe.
Okay.
Okay? Because you missed a lot in there. And I understand that you missed a lot because you don't know what to say because you don't know what Gypsy said. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you right now, Gypsy did tell me everything. She told us everything. She told us about you coming there. She told us what happened to Mom. She told us about your guys' relationship. She told us about the cleanup. She told us about all of that.
I just need to reiterate right here, Gypsy didn't tell them anything. She didn't tell them the truth at all. The only thing that she told the truth about was she met him online. That's the only thing she told the truth about. And the only other thing she did in her interrogation was threw Nick under the bus. That's all she did. She didn't tell the truth.
Okay?
Okay.
So, do you want to do the right thing by Gypsy if you love her?
Well, the truth is I worship her, so
I know you
there's
do.
no way I wouldn't do it on her.
I know.
I would think for her.
I know you do. I believe you do. But this is the point where you're going to prove whether you do or not, okay, when me and you talk.
Okay.
Okay? Because it's not fair. It's not fair to Gypsy for her to be honest and you to lie, okay?
Okay.
So what I want to know is can you tell me this first?
Okay.
Did Gypsy know that you were going to kill her mother?
Honestly, she asked me to.
Okay. So Gypsy knew you were going to do it because Gypsy asked you to.
Yes.
Why did she ask you to do that?
Because she felt it was her only way to be with me.
Okay. She felt like if you killed the mom, then that's the only way she could be with you.
Yeah.
Do you know the mom's name?
So he said that the reason why he killed her is so him and Gypsy could be together. Basically, Gypsy said it was the only way that they could be together. That was the only way she could be with him. And so that was why he killed her. It wasn't because he was her, he was being her savior, or it's not because he was being her knight in shining armor. I've heard a lot of people say that he was rescuing her, but I'm trying to figure out what's he rescuing her from, because so far there hasn't been any mention of abuse. So what would he be rescuing her from? Please pay attention to the end of this clip.
I don't know her real name. All I know is that she goes by Dee Dee.
Dee Dee, okay. So, has Gypsy asked you to kill anyone else?
No.
Okay, she just wanted you to kill her mom.
Yes.
Okay. And how did Gypsy ask you to do that? Did she ask you to do that in a text message, on a Facebook, or in person, or something different?
Well, it was more than once. I mean, you had Facebook. We would talk about it on there. We would talk about it even on texts.
Okay. And what kind of things would Gypsy tell you that she wanted you to do?
She wanted. The thing is that I know she loves her mom a lot. I know she does.
Yeah.
I had I was up here with her, and she felt guilty about the whole situation. I had to make sure she was safe. Meaning, like, I had to make sure she felt like she could be comforted
By you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because, and then the truth is, okay, I'll admit it. I did actually stab her mom. I will admit it.
I know. Okay.
The only reason I did it is because I did it for me and her. That's the real reason I did it. I would have never did it if it was not for me and her.
Okay. So you wouldn't have done it if somebody else would have asked?
No.
Okay.
There's no way I would have did it for anyone else.
Okay, so you just
I
did it.
truly do worship her to the point there's nothing I want to do for her.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think you've proved that, right?
Yes.
I think that you've proved that you do what she asked you to do, if that's the case, if she did ask you.
Yeah, she did ask me.
Okay, and she asked you more than once? Did she ask you while you were here?
She asked me more than once because what happened was, at first she wanted, because the thing was is that she wanted to do it herself, but she was too, what's the word, not cautious, it's, I guess skittish is the word I'm looking for.
Okay.
She didn't want to actually do it.
Okay.
Because she couldn't live with herself doing it.
Okay.
And as for me, I honestly to this day I still feel guilty about it.
Okay.
I do.
Right.
Because I learned so much about her mom after she told me and more about it after actually being able to live with her for a little while.
Right.
I actually realized how great of a mom she was.
Okay, so it kind of makes you feel a little guilty.
No. I feel a lot more guilt than that.
Okay.
This last part bothered me because he says he feels a lot of guilt because Dee Dee was a good mom. I have a question, because if Dee Dee was a good mom, how was she this mean abuser? I mean, was Dee Dee this abuser or was she a good mom? Because you can't be both, right? I mean, Nick never mentions any abuse in his interrogation. I really believe he would have mentioned it had Gypsy told him she was being abused. Gypsy and Nick were originally charged with first-degree murder. This is her being arraigned in Waukesha County, Wisconsin. The penalty at this time was life imprisonment or death.
This individual is alleged to have conspired with Nicholas Godejohn to stab her mother to death so that they could be together. The penalty is life imprisonment or death.
Okay, this way.
Did you notice what the reason was that they killed Dee Dee? I believe he said it was so that Nick and Gypsy could be together, not because Gypsy was being abused or because Dee Dee, had Munchausen's. Gypsy was eventually extradited back to Greene County, Missouri, where she was arraigned on June 29, 2015.
Could be tried separately from co-defendant Nicholas Godejohn. Good evening once again to you. I'm David Oliver.
And thanks for joining us. I'm Jennifer Kilman. Gypsy was arraigned today in Greene County Court in the murder of her mother, Dee Dee. And as Matt Lopoli reports, new information emerged about her relationship with Godejohn.
Jennifer and David, documents unsealed today show investigators seized communication between Blanchard and Godejohn from a dating website. They apparently met and communicated on ChristianDatingForFree.com. Authorities obtained 26 electronic files worth of communications exchanged between the two from January 1st until June 16th. Investigators believe they used the site to plan and execute the killing. Today, Gypsy pleaded not guilty in the murder of her mother. Gypsy Blanchard walked into Greene County Court speechless as she faced a judge for the first time in the murder of her mother.
We're still sorting all of that out.
Her public defender did speak, giving a possible glimpse at her defense strategy.
I'd just like to thank the police, the media, and all of the citizens that have helped to so quickly uncover the scope of what Dee Dee was involved in.
Anytime you try a case, the story is the most important thing.
Criminal defense attorney Will Worsham isn't involved in the case. He says, though, competing stories could weigh heavily on the outcome.
I can imagine she has a story about being under the domination of her mother and mental illness, whereas there's another story there that tells a very different story about her being the mastermind.
No decision yet.
I have to stop it there, okay? This man's a criminal defense attorney. He wasn't a part of the case, but apparently he had looked at the evidence or looked at the probable cause statement or something, because he knew that he knew what was going on. Basically, he said there was two stories here. One of the stories was Gypsy was under, Dee Dee and like mental illness or whatever. And then the other story was made Gypsy out to be the mastermind. So was he talking about the mastermind of the murder, which we all know she was the mastermind of the murder, but was he talking about that, or was he talking about Dee Dee and the con? Because to me, I think it sounded like he was talking about Dee Dee and the con.
But Blanchard wants her story tried separately from co-defendant Nicholas Godejohn, who also appeared in a Wisconsin court.
I've been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, sir.
I think this is a case that absolutely would need to be tried separately, and if I was representing her, I absolutely would. If you compare the probable cause statements or the statements made in the probable cause, there's some finger pointing going on here. She's saying, I was there and knew about it, but that's the limit that she's willing to accept, whereas he's saying, I only did it because she told me to.
Godejohn will be extradited to Missouri to stand trial. Both face $1 million bond.
And the judge did set special conditions with the bond too, right?
Absolutely. He says the two should not have any communication whatsoever.
All right, Matt, thanks.
So her preliminary hearing was scheduled for July 24th, 2015. And what this hearing is this is where the state has to prove, like, she was charged for first-degree murder. So the state basically has to show the judge that they had the sufficient amount of evidence to try to charge her for first-degree murder and to hold her for that charge. And so, the look on her face says it all here, basically, because, like I said, the evidence came out. What some of the evidence that they had against her came out during this hearing. So I have a phone call that I'm going to play. It's between Gypsy and her father, Rod. It happened right after this preliminary hearing. So let's listen to that.
I'm still shaken up, but I'm a little better. At least I'm not on the floor sobbing right now.
Yeah, that's good.
And,
yeah, some days are going to be good, some days are going to be bad. Today was bad, I guess you could say,
right. Some days are better than others. Today was a pretty bad day, which I hadn't had this bad of a day, so it shook me up a lot. And I'm like thinking, if this is just a preliminary hearing, I can't imagine how trial is going to be. I wish they would have like some constant Xanax trying to take or something.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more than that. It will be weeks probably, But the best thing to do is just be honest with Mike,
Right.
That's the only way he can defend you the best he can is if he knows the truth, and
exactly.
And then we can work with that.
Right.
That way you know what to expect. Today kind of blindsided everybody, and it's partly because he wasn't honest with them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that or not, because it's kind of hard to hear when Rod speaks. I mean, he sounds like he's got a mouthful of marbles anyway, but this is kind of a poor recording. But he said that, once the evidence was released in court, they were all kind of blindsided by it. And then Gypsy says, oh yeah, I was blindsided too. I bet you were. I bet you were.
And I'm like, I was completely honest with him, and I'm like, I was on a lot of medication, some that weren't even mine, and so I know this sounds crazy, but I don't remember making those texts or sending those texts or having any of these conversations. I wouldn't do that normally.
So here, I want to make it clear, she is saying that she does not remember having all those text messages, the 2 weeks worth of text messages that, they used at Nick's trial, that they were able to retrieve. She says she doesn't remember having any of those conversations, and she was all drugged up, but they planned it for a year. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know what evidence they presented at her preliminary hearing, but they planned it for a year. And so I don't believe her. I just don't believe her. Let's carry on.
Yeah, I know. So, let him know all of that. I mean, he's going to do the best he can. and that's all we can hope for, you know. So,
he knows that because I told
just
him
be positive about it.
And it was bad today. I'm still shaking.
Yeah.
And it's like I told my husband and I told Mom that I'm just like, those were pictures that are taken out of context. I was in a costume from October that I had posted in May. You know, how is that relevant to anything? And I had pictures of me as a princess too on there, without showing those.
Right. Yeah. Well, that'll come out. We'll never argue that.
Right.
We'll never explain all of that if need be.
And like he had told me, he's like, well, we have a plan, and we had talked about it, and our defense is going to be the battered spouse syndrome, and he knows what he's doing, and I put all my trust in him, and I know that he'll get me the least amount of time possible. And I've been looking up about a roundabout figure of how long prison time does manslaughter charge, because that's what he's kind of going for, because the prosecutor came up and was talking about charging you with manslaughter at the end of all this.
15 years for manslaughter is the maximum.
Yeah. And so it's like, it can either be from 5 to 15 years, and I'm like, you know, I could do that, you know, at least it won't be 25 for life or something like that. But there's a lot of factors that need to be taken into account with that as well. So it could be even less than 15.
Yeah, that's right. So just hope for the best, baby.
Yeah, hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
But the good thing is it's not going to get, like, the conversations, I don't think it's going to get any worse than what was in those texts.
Yeah, that was like some big doings they had there, so, you know. So yeah, if you know what their big guns are, you know your enemy.
Right.
You can be a good offense. So,
Did you catch that their strategy was going to be the battered spouse syndrome? I don't know. I mean, that kind of seems weird to me. It seems like Mike put a bunch of syndromes in his hat and he kept pulling them out till one stuck or something. I don't know, because he had battered spouse syndrome. Then we had Munchausen Proxy syndrome. I don't know. Anyway, Gypsy eventually would go and accept a plea deal of second-degree murder with a 10-year sentence on July 5th, 2016. I'm going to give it a second, let you screenshot that if you want to screenshot that. This is a clip from her documentary, Mommy Dead and Mommy Dearest, that premiered in May 2017. Here she's still locked up in Greene County, Missouri, and she's either waiting to accept her plea here or she's waiting to be moved to prison. I'm not sure, but she's still in county at this point.
This is actually kind of the first time I've been honest. Besides being honest, you know, my attorneys, even that, I haven't been completely honest with them, so.
How would you?
I still don't think she's being honest if you really want to know the truth about it. To this day, I don't believe she's being honest. This next clip is also from Mommy Dead and Dearest, and she's asked to describe her mom. She describes her as unique and overprotective.
How would you describe your mom?
Unique. I mean, I used to always think that maybe she's a little overprotective. So if I had to say one word about her, it would be overprotective.
Anytime she's asked to describe her mom, she always says she's either overprotective or controlling, but she never, ever outright calls her abusive. She never seems to show any real emotion when talking about her mother. Gypsy indirectly witnessed her mother being brutally stabbed to death, heard her mother calling out for her as she stood by locked in a bathroom. Gypsy! Gypsy! You would think asking her to recall anything about her mom would trigger some kind of emotion, but it doesn't. Gypsy tells Dr. Phil in this next clip she was taught to lie without a conscience.
Good liar. A very good liar without any conscience.
My question is, why does anyone believe her? All she ever does is lie, and people honestly expect her to tell the truth about killing someone and why she did it. This next clip, Dr. Phil is trying to somewhat hold her accountable for her role in her mother's murder, but she's so fake in this interview.
Him a question, but in the 3 days prior to the murder, you had some text exchanges that seemed to me that this plan B was pretty much a collaborative process.
I just wish I could go back and walk in front of somebody. And none of this would have had to happen.
You said he could have said no, you could have walked out that front door. You called a cab after you hacked her to death, you could have got to call that cab and left. You could have gone to a women's shelter, you could have gone to a police
She
station.
would have found me. She would have convinced them that I was lying. And she had paperwork to prove, like, I was mentally incompetent. Nobody would have believed me.
You think this?
She states if she had just got up and walked, none of this would have happened. Then she provides an excuse as to why she couldn't just get up and walk. This is her favorite excuse to use, and I roll my eyes in the back of my head every time I hear it. If you know Gypsy as a wheelchair-bound, sickly kid, and that's the only way you've always known her, and she got up and walked across the floor, how could anyone call her a liar? If they do, that's when you get up and you start moonwalking across the floor, do the electric slide, do the hustle, jumping jacks, whatever you got to do to get these people's attention. And the most Dee Dee could have done would have been throw her hands in the air and say, "Thank you, Jesus, my baby can walk. It's a miracle." I mean, there's no way she could have explained that. She couldn't have explained that away. No way. Gypsy's excuse as to why she didn't get up and walk is the dumbest excuse I've ever heard, and it makes me mad that mainstream media never pushed the issue or asked her the hard questions. I lost respect for Dr. Phil after watching this interview with Gypsy. He usually pushes people, and he didn't with her. It seemed at one point he started feeding her ideas to use. This next clip is interesting because I have an email that goes with it.
Did you ask him to kill your mother?
Yes. We had thought of different ideas. We called it Plan B. I was getting desperate, and we bounced around that idea.
But did you ask him, quote, "Will you kill my mother for me"?
I probably did, yes, sir.
Let me answer that question for you, Gypsy. Yes, you asked Nick to kill your mom for you. Let me explain to those who may not know who Nick is, her co-defendant. He is an autistic young man, but I also believe he's mentally ill and was at the time of the murders. I believe his mental illness is what put him on that bus, not his autism. When you watch his interrogation video, it's clear to me he's hearing voices. Now, you have to watch his whole interrogation video, not just these clips. He told Detective Mahali when he was younger, he used to take medication for hearing voices.
But, I think one of the things he said was stop resisting, you know you're dead.
Okay.
I think that's one of the other things he said.
Well, it's you that's saying it.
I know, but it's the thing is that I have
You just got angry.
more than one person inside me. There's actually multiple personalities of myself.
Have you been diagnosed with that?
I probably should be diagnosed with it because it happens. The thing is, I used to take medication because I used to hear voices in my head.
Okay.
And it went away, then it somehow went as part of myself.
Okay.
So.
Does Gypsy know that?
Yes.
And here's his mother's interview with Detective Mahaling. The last time Nick had been to the doctor, he was 19. He was 26 when he committed this murder. She also stated that Nick was supposed to be taking medication at the time of the murders, but he wasn't taking it.
The doctor that diagnosed him, it's in the papers. I probably have to pull the papers out somewhere.
Okay, when's the last time you went to a doctor?
That was probably around 19, maybe. He was probably 19.
Okay. And he functions just fine without his medicine?
Yeah, the thing is with his medicine, when he was with his dad, he was taking his medicine. And he just didn't want to take it anymore. He moved back in with me and he didn't want to take it anymore. He seemed to be okay.
Okay.
He wasn't, you know, I mean, I'm used to it. I raised him. To me, he didn't need it, but.
Okay. All right. And he was able to get through school just fine?
Yeah, I mean, he obviously was in LD classes, but.
Okay.
So what medication he was supposed to be taking, I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to guess it was for hearing voices. This is an email Gypsy sent to an unknown person dated July 1st, 2021. So this was just 4 years ago. You can see it's outbound Gypsy Blanchard. That was her inmate number. Now it's been redacted. They automatically did that when they sent the prison emails out. It says, I just found out that, and I know who that is. It says, I just found out that Nick's mom died from an overdose the same week as the anniversary of the crime this year. It's sad. Part of me feels sympathy, and part of me feels like it's karma coming back to him. He took my mother, so karma took his. It's sad regardless. Do you believe in things like fate and karma? So Gypsy found out Nick's mom overdosed around her mom's murder anniversary, and she says it's karma. Neither one of them ever mentioned abuse in their interrogations. It's not mentioned, in the text messages. It's hard telling really what she told Nick. We don't really have all the information yet. The information that has come out, I don't believe there's been anything in there about abuse or anything to that effect. And so it's really hard what she told him, but he basically did this for her. We know that. We know he did it for her. She had every excuse in the book for why she couldn't, the other options that they talked about, her running away or calling the police or whatever. She had every excuse in the book why they couldn't do that. Can't run away because she did that in 2011 and it didn't work. Dee Dee just kind of tracked her down. Can't call the police because Dee Dee will just lie and make something up. Don't get me wrong. Nick is guilty for what he did. But he, had it not been for Gypsy, Nick wouldn't have killed Dee Dee. Had it not been for Gypsy, Dee Dee would have never been on Nick's radar. Nick was offered 2 plea deals and turned them both down. He was hell-bent and determined he wanted the same amount of time as Gypsy. But being he's the one that put the knife in Dee Dee's back, that just wasn't going to happen. He went to trial in November of 2018. Gypsy did testify on behalf of the defense at Nick's trial, but he was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. I have another prison email that was sent from, and I'll just read this real quick. It says, the trial reflects that counsel engaged in plea negotiations with the defendant on at least 2 occasions. A memo in the trial file reflects that trial counsel conveyed to Mr. Godejohn on December 2nd, 2016, the state's first offer of life with parole eligibility on a plea to murder in the 2nd degree with a dismissal of the armed criminal action charge. The memo states that Mr. Godejohn rejected that offer, but did want counsel to make a counter offer of 15 years on a reduced charge of murder in the 2nd degree and 15 years on the armed criminal action charge to run concurrent. The state made a second plea offer to Mr. Godejohn by letter on March 2nd, 2018. This offer was for life, probation denied, with parole on a charge of murder in the second degree with 10 years, consecutive on the armed criminal charge. According to a notation in the trial file, this offer was rejected by Mr. Godejohn on May 2nd, 2018. And so he ended up going to trial in November of 2018. Again, I have a prison email that was sent from Gypsy to a guy by the name of Ken in November of 2018. They actually had a prison romance going on at this time, and while she was testifying at Nick's trial. Ken ended up becoming her fiance in prison, but then they broke up. But he is currently her baby daddy. So this is the email. It says, "Love, I know you will be worried about how I'm doing after the verdict was read. I'm feeling better than if I had not did my testimony at all. At least I take comfort in knowing I did all I could to help him, and am only that much more relieved that I took my 10-year plea, and count my blessing that I was blessed with a talented, well-practiced public defender who can feel at ease knowing he and I took the best outcome for my future. As for Nick, I'm sure he's probably cussing my name right now, but I really do hope he can find happiness and a meaning with his life, even from prison. He may write me at some point, but I won't respond. I feel that me testifying on his behalf was my goodbye and good luck. Now we both can really move on and find our paths. This case is finally over. To be honest, I stayed in under stress, fearing what facts was to be shown. I bet you did, Gypsy. I bet you did. I didn't know you were watching the whole thing live. The truth is, I'm very embarrassed about my past, the choices I made back then, and I always feared it would shape how you viewed me in your eyes. The whole world could see me in a bad light, and I wouldn't give a shit. But one strike in your eyes would be too hard for me to cope with. But even with over 30 hours of evidence in my case shown, I call you and it's like none of it matters. And the fact that you can love me with the knowledge and detail of my flawed, criminal, and fucked up past, it is only proof that you are my future. Going forward, I'm only a few short years away from total freedom, and how amazing it will be. Thank you for all the love and support, patience you've shown me. You're truly the most wonderfully perfect person for me. I love you. XO, 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 wifey. P.S. For the record, you are the only one I want in my box. Well, I'm in it, so don't ever think that I need space from you, because I need you. She always talks about a box, being in somebody's box. I don't even know what that's supposed to be, but I don't know. But anyway, it seems like Gypsy knew here what we all know now. Had she gone to trial, she would still be sitting in prison for the rest of her life. She was afraid of the evidence that was going to come out. Guess what? It's all coming out now. And no, you won't go back to prison, but the truth will be out. Gypsy spent 8.5 years in prison for her part of the crime. She was released on parole December 28, 2023. When she was released, it was a big topic in the true crime community. I started looking back into this case. I wondered why, if she had been medically abused, why haven't the doctors or hospitals been held accountable? I looked to see if she had sued any of the providers that treated her and came across this article that was published June 2017. Christy was doing an interview, I guess, to promote Mommy Dead and Dearest. Christy is Gypsy's stepmother. So it says, have any doctors faced repercussions for treating Gypsy and not discovering she was not actually ill? Have any systemic changes been made in law and healthcare to ensure this can't happen again? And Christy said, we're in the works with that right now. We reached out to a few lawyers that work in malpractice. None of them want to touch it. They reject us every time. But maybe now that the documentary is out, they'll get to see it. They'll think differently. So we're in the process of trying to find that lawyer that's going to want to take this case on. I mean, like Dr. Bernardo Flasterstein, it kind of made me angry that he didn't want to report it. And like he said, Gypsy wasn't being abused. She was being overtreated. To me, it's the same thing. You're overtreating a child. So here, Christy admitted that they had been to a few attorneys that handled malpractice, but none of them wanted to take the case. They were rejected every time. It seems to me that if Gypsy had all these unnecessary medical treatments and procedures, these lawyers would be beating down her door to take this case. Now, this is the doctor that Christy is referring to in this interview. He states Dee Dee was over-treating Gypsy. He gives this interview in her Mommy Dead and Dearest documentary.
Report patients to social services. We do that when we feel that there's a neglect. But a neglect is different what this mom was doing. She wasn't really neglecting her. She was over-treating her.
This was a screenshot provided to me that was taken sometime after Gypsy was released from prison in December 2023. It says, I hope that a good lawyer gets with Gypsy and they sued the crap out of every single doctor that prescribed medication and or did unnecessary surgery on her. That's what baffles me the most about this whole thing. How can a doctor perform a surgery on someone that doesn't even need it? And Christy responded, this is Christy and Rod Blanchard. That's one thing we did and still wonder about. Rod and I have tried to find a lawyer to go after them, and none of them wanted to take this case on. We will see if Gypsy can do something about it. I took this screenshot on one of Gypsy's TikTok posts where someone asked about suing for medical malpractice, and this was her response. She said, I'm so sorry that the system failed you. Is there legal action against these hospitals you can take? And Gypsy responded, I am looking into it. Unfortunately, it costs a lot of money that I don't have. People are misled to believe I have millions and I maybe have 15,000 to my name. Her comment led me to believe she really didn't look into medical malpractice, so I commented on her post. I explained that I worked in the legal field many moons ago, and what she said simply wasn't true. She wouldn't need to provide any of her money up front. Most, if not all, medical malpractice attorneys are free consultation. Then if they agree to take her case, their fee is based on whatever she would be awarded. She doesn't pay any money up front. The law firm would fit the bill. If she didn't win, it would be no cost to her and the law firm would eat the cost. Normally, they only take cases, though, that they know they can either win or settle. So she deleted my comment and eventually shut comments off on that post, and then eventually deleted the whole post. So my guess is they couldn't find an attorney to take this case on because there wasn't a case. I would think it would be a multi-million-dollar lawsuit if Gypsy's claims were true, but none of the malpractice attorneys wanted to touch this case. That doesn't make sense to me. Now the statute of limitations is up. In Missouri, there's a 2-year statute of limitations, and in Louisiana, there's a 1 to 3 year statute of limitations. There can be special circumstances taken into consideration, but I mean, it's been 10 years now, so I really think that ship has sailed. But this is a screenshot of some information I looked up on medical malpractice, kind of showing how it works. So either prior to or when Gypsy was released from prison, her medical records were leaked on social media, and the internet sleuths dissected those records and discovered that Gypsy had an interstitial deletion of chromosome 1q21.1. This is a summary of what that is. The summary is the 1q21.1 microdeletion syndrome is a chromosome abnormality where a segment of genetic material on the long arm, or Q arm, of chromosome 1 at position 21.1 is missing or deleted. Some people with this deletion have no observable features, while others have variable findings that can include a small head, microcephaly, developmental delay, speech and motor delays, mild intellectual disability, distinctive facial features, and eye abnormalities. Other findings can include seizures, as well as abnormalities of the heart, skeleton, and urinary system. Psychiatric and behavioral features can include autism spectrum disorders, anxiety and mood disorders, schizophrenia, attention deficit, hyperactive disorder, and sleep disorders. This syndrome is caused by a deletion of a specific region of 1q21.1, which is distinct from the deletion region that causes TAR syndrome. So social media and the content creators started sharing this information. Gypsy finally came forward, admitted she had the deletion, but denied having any effects from it. She made this post on her Instagram where she was sitting in the middle of her medical records. Someone commented on the post regarding her microdeletion, and this was her response to it. She said, Nina is very uneducated. I have a genetic microdeletion of one of my chromosomes, but I am part of the 75% of individuals who bears no effect. She believes that it makes the surgeries necessary. False, is what she says. Shortly after being released from prison, she became pregnant. People were concerned for the baby because of Gypsy's microdeletion and her being in denial of the effects from the deletion. Then this screenshot surfaced that was from one of Christy's trusted confidants. Again, Christy is Gypsy's stepmom, and a trusted confidant was Katie Joy. Katie Joy had been working with the Blanchards, and they had a falling out about mid-2024. She says, I'm struggling with emotions today. The more I hear and read about my genetic condition, the more I worry. I feel like maybe I'm already a bad mom because I know I have this, but I choose to have kids anyway. I mean, I didn't know it could be passed down until recently, but it only makes me feel selfish knowing that I could be bringing a child into this world with health problems. And I hate the way it sounds because I don't want to sound like my mother, but it's a valid concern. Basically, I could be bringing a child into this world to suffer a fate of living abnormal, and I just feel like a piece of shit, and it would be all my fault. Like, that is something that is heavy on my heart. Once that screenshot of her message was leaked, Gypsy then posted this on her Instagram to reassure everyone the baby was fine. She says, great news about Aurora. We're overjoyed to share that our sweet girl Aurora has tested negative for the rare genetic condition known as microdeletion 1q21.1. This result brings us such immense relief and gratitude. Thank you to everyone who kept us in your thoughts. Your support has meant the world. Aurora is happy, healthy, and growing beautifully at 4 months old. We're looking forward to cherishing every moment with her with lighter hearts and hopeful spirits. Gypsy Rose and Ken. My question is, if Gypsy was not affected by this microdeletion, then why is she so worried about passing it down to the baby and then relieved when the baby tested negative? Don't get me wrong. I am so grateful that the baby is fine and doesn't show any signs, but obviously the microdeletion is an issue for Gypsy, and that is what my point is here.
There's only two things: strabismus, the thing with the eye, and then microcephaly, which is if her head circumference would have been 1 centimeter bigger, she wouldn't even be in that range, which means that it does not affect her at all.
This was Bree. Bree is what I consider Gypsy's PR person. She has had Gypsy's back over on TikTok since Gypsy got out of prison. So, and I have to hand it to her. I mean, she's been going hard for her for about 2 years now, and she fights every day on TikTok for Gypsy. Gypsy don't fight for herself, but Bree fights every day for her. She's having a debate here with another content creator over there on TikTok. But she does confirm that Gypsy does have microcephaly and strabismus. She states that these are the only two things that Gypsy has from the microdeletion, and that's just not true. Gypsy does have microcephaly, and she does have strabismus. And when she was younger, she had to have 3 eye surgeries because of the strabismus, or she would have gone blind. Here, her pediatrician from Missouri, Dr. Robert Still, explains that.
Pediatrician back in 2005. She was 14 at the time. I've only had a little opportunity to kind of run through them, but when I looked in her earlier medical records, Gypsy had strabismus as an infant, which is when one eye or both wander. And over time, you go blind. So you have to have surgery to correct the problem.
I mean, honestly, in my opinion, it doesn't seem like it's even been corrected. It still seems like she still has some eye issues just by looking at her, and I'm not trying to be mean. Here is a list that Dee Dee had with Gypsy's medical records showing what Gypsy had been diagnosed with over the years. It appears the things Gypsy was being treated for were all part of the chromosome disorder that Gypsy was diagnosed with. The doctors were aware of this disorder when she was younger, but there still had not been enough cases or studies done and of her condition because it's considered rare. Considered rare. The 1q21.1 deletion syndrome is considered rare, with only a few dozen individuals reported in medical literature. Approximately 0.015% of the population may have this deletion, which can lead to various developmental and health issues, including intellectual disability and physical abnormalities. While some individuals may not exhibit noticeable features, others may experience significant developmental delays and other symptoms. She was officially diagnosed with this in 2011 by Dr. Lepuchan, and so he seemed to have some knowledgeable on he seemed to be knowledgeable on this deletion. There are 47 symptoms of the chromosome deletion 1q21.1, and here's a list of all of Gypsy's known symptoms of this deletion. She has anxiety. I have a few of the prison emails where she refers to having anxiety. I also believe that is what Dee Dee meant when she put hyperventilation down on the diagnosis sheet. Here is one email where she's talking about, it's outbound Gypsy Rose. That's her inmate number. Not sure who she's talking to. It says, I'm having a lot of anxiety right now. I just had a friend let me listen to a small bit, the latest video from blank and blank on their YouTube channel. Blank is sending threats to me and claims she is in fact writing the parole board and to do everything she can to keep me in prison or have me committed in a mental facility. This next one shows she was writing to a male suitor here. I do know who this is, but because he has not gone public, he is not one of the public guys, I'm not going to say who it is. But she's letting him know on an anxiety meter, like pushing 8. This news about blank writing a book is irritating my soul. Of all people, that woman grinds my gears. And here she's having some more anxiety. I'm not quite sure who she's talking to here either. She said, it was actually me. I busted myself because I was having bad anxiety about it. So I turned myself in. Sucks being responsible. Anyways, yes, honey, I miss you so much. XOXOXOXOX. I just wanted to cuddle. So as you can see, there's 3 different people that she was talking to with 3 different scenarios of anxiety. The next was failure to thrive. She did have a feeding tube, and that was removed, when she went to prison or when she went to jail. I'm not sure if it was when she went to jail or she went to prison. But this is all I could find in her medical records regarding the feeding tube. She has microcephaly, which Gypsy was diagnosed with that, and Bree, confirmed it for us. Scoliosis. Here are a couple different prison emails where Gypsy addresses having mild scoliosis. This first email was dated August 31st, 2018 from Gypsy to an unidentified source. She's telling the person she suffers from mild scoliosis. She's like, hey, blank, smiley face. No, not yet. Still works, but it's a pain to use. So I sent you the visiting form. When you finish filling it out, send it to the prison. Smiley face. Hip problems. It looked like sad face. Psh. 65, okay, I'm 80. And then, no, I get it. I have mild scoliosis and it causes me lower back pain. So I get the aches and pains. Anyways, by the time you get this, I will have already talked to you on the phone. But good news, I've started a new class. It's for trauma coping skills. So I'm going back to my natural hair color. The red just didn't spark my interest as much as I hoped. TGIF, the weekend is here. Yes, it was a long day at school and work. Anyway. And so this next email is actually to her ex-husband, Ryan. I don't know if they were married yet or not, or just dating here, but this is to Ryan. She says, baby, I'm starting to worry about my back pain. If I stand for long periods of time, by the end of the night, I'm in pain. Like I'm not screaming pain, but enough I can cry a little because it hurts. I'm worried I won't be able to do work doing hair when I get out. God, that's a relief because Lord have mercy. You just fried your head and had to shave it because you don't know what you're doing with your hair. And so now she's looking like her mugshot again, or half her head anyway. Says, I have pain from mild scoliosis in my back. My hips hurt. My knees hurt. I feel like I'm falling apart. Also, these metal bunks are hell on my body. 6.5 years of these metal bunks. No wonder I ache so bad. She talks, one of them is, seizures. In Gypsy's second interrogation video I played for you, she stated she had a seizure disorder and had to go to the hospital to get checked. Short stature. Strabismus, which Dr. Robert Steele stated earlier that she did have it and she needed the eye surgeries or she would have gone blind. And then we have sensorineural hearing impairment. Dee Dee did have hearing impairment on the list. Another thing that was discovered in 2011 was that Dee Dee found out Gypsy could walk. This screenshot came from Nick Godejohn's appeal paperwork that was filed April 28, 2021. This is a video that is in evidence, dated May 26, 2014. It was a year prior to the murder. She states in this video, Dee Dee did not know she could walk for 13 years from the time she was 6, 1997, to the time she was 19 in 2011, starting where that red line is. It says she further, in a video dated May 26, 2014, Gypsy shows Nicholas how she can stand and walk. She explains that when she was 6 years old, she went into the hospital and that during surgery, the doctor said she had a seizure and was paralyzed. They didn't know if it was only temporary. She started getting feeling and tingling back in her legs. She was young and kept it to herself. She kept it from her mom because she was afraid that her mom would stop loving her. So she kept it to herself until 2011 when she rebelled and ran away from home. She said explaining to their friends that she could walk would be too hard. She says she would like for people to know the truth, but she would lose a lot of friends. So if Gypsy was lying to Dee Dee about not being able to walk, what else has she lied about? Well, I can answer that question too. Remember in her book, she tells people she wasn't allowed to play with Barbie dolls, that Dee Dee wouldn't let her. Here is a screenshot that was provided to me. Recently, Gypsy was selling some of the baby stuff online and someone inquired about a baby stroller, but changed their mind because they said Gypsy's story kept changing and that she seemed flaky. This was Gypsy's reply to the person. My story never shifts. People twist verbiage. For example, I talked about how my mom chained me to the bed. Then I will say tied. Then they say, well, was it with a chain, a dog leash, a rope? To me, chain means all of those words mean the same thing, but they trip off of the verbiage. Then another example, in my book, I explain how when I was much younger, I explained how my mother didn't want me to play with Barbies. But then they show a picture of me at 14 with a Barbie in my hand. Okay, more details need to be told. My mother didn't let me play with Barbies when I was 6 or 7. So this was the picture she's talking about, where she's about, what, 13 here? She's holding a Barbie. And then Dee Dee's got one. It looks like she's holding one that's unwrapped, or that's wrapped, excuse me. So she says that more details need to be told. She said her mother, didn't let her play with Barbies when she was 6 or 7. It wasn't until she was 13 or 14 that she was allowed to play with Barbies. But then I find this picture. She's got a basket of Barbies and dolls to the left of her. There's a Barbie doll laying to the right of her, where the Lifetime logo is in the bottom right-hand corner. That's a Barbie doll. And so, I don't know. I need to continue to read this because it's kind of important. So, okay, more details need to be told. My mother didn't let me play with Barbies when I was 6 or 7. It wasn't until I was 13 or 14 that she allowed me to play with Barbies. So you see how details matter for some things and don't for others? Again, she's lying here because I just showed you pictures of her at different ages with Barbie dolls. Just last week, Ken went on TikTok live and misspoke on a detail that he didn't know. He was asked, why did my mom cover the windows with tint? He said, so people wouldn't see Gypsy walking around the house. And I told him, Ken, why did you say that? Because that's exactly why she did put the window tint on the window, so people wouldn't see you walking around the house, Gypsy. She said, why did you speak on that? Because that's not the reason my mom blacked out the windows after CPS came to my house and she got paranoid about people seeing in our windows. Now the whole TikTok is screaming Gypsy lied about that just because Ken said something different. Like people you're asking about experience with people like Ken and Christy that, not to be mean, but don't know horse shit about my life and are speaking publicly on things they don't know for facts. And then my book is a whole other level of things that don't add up, because I had co-authors do the formal writing for me, and the book has tons of errors that need to be fixed because I didn't put pen to paper and write it myself, and unfortunately I didn't proofread it like I should have. So that's another thing that makes me look like I'm lying about some things. Ultimately, my story is the same. It's just been grinded up by the media and tossed everywhere, and I'm just so over with trying to explain it to people. I like how she always blames other people for her issues here. I read the prison emails, Gypsy, and so she told them exactly what she wanted in her book. So here is one of her prison emails discussing corrections to the book proposal. She says, hi, Blank. Blank read the book proposal to me, and what I found is, without trying to be insulting, that the overall framework of it was bare-boned. It reminded me of listening to Forrest Gump and made me cringe. It was your very basic wording. I use more intellectual words. For example, instead of saying, people said my mom poisoned my step-grandma, I would have said, it was speculated that my mother had poisoned my step-grandmother, Blank, with Roundup. Blank also uses mom, and I actually rarely call my mother mom. I refer to her as mother because I now call Christy mom. Also, there were consistent repetitive words, and words that should have used commas where the repetitive ands were placed. The story read very factual, however, lacked emotion, texture, and immersion into degree intelligence. One thing everyone comments on, even when living with my mother, is how articulate I am with words, and that did not translate with the way this reads. Notes. Number 1, my mother did not work at the hospital after I was born. She took a job at a bar called PJ's when I was a toddler age, and later took odd jobs such as photo restoration on her computer. Number 2, it reads more than once that I had no participation in Mommy, Dead, and Dearest, but I did participate in the HBO documentary Mommy, Dead, and Dearest. However, I did not have financial compensation, and it was not a docuseries. It was a single documentary. Number 3, in the beginning, it read, my childhood was great, but then I got sick. Then the next paragraph reads, I had X amount of surgical procedures at 11 months old. That is contradicted contradictory to the beginning paragraph. From birth, my mother claimed I was sick. However, as a child, I at least was allowed to be more social with my mother's side and have some good memories as a child. I would not say great, though. Number 4, Blank and I did not mutually break up. He left me devastatingly brokenhearted. I wanted readers to feel the strength of the pain that I felt. After all I had gone through, I thought I'd went through it to get to this person who would love me, and he let me down just like everyone else in my life. Blank jotted down other notes of errors in grammar and proper English and pretty much the same notes. For a proposal, it is okay, but I do not want Blank to write the manuscript. I just can't see a whole book of this shit. It's all facts and no heart. Nothing tugged at me to make me feel anything but bored and depressed. So that was her input in one email. And let me tell you, I mean, there's many emails. I can't put them on it. I can't put them all in here, but there's many emails about this book. And she also had phone calls about this book. So here's another email stating she loved the book proposal, but just a few changes. I love the proposal. The only things I had concerns with is chapter 10, June 15, 2023. The date is still wrong. Should be June 10th, 2015. And the changes to the sample chapter in chapter 14, Life as It Was Intended, the line sex with blank still needs to be changed to reflect the struggle to move past sexual trauma. Many survivors of sexual trauma have a hard time feeling comfortable with sex. And the truth is, I'm no different, girlfriend. I'm afraid I'm going to get struck by lightning reading your mess. I have many insecurities and fears regarding sex. Within chapter 14, I didn't really cuss Blank out when he said the line, "You're my heart and I can't live without my heart." I want the sentence reconstructed to, when Blank told me when trying to be romantic, said the line, "You are my heart and I can't live without my heart," I became withdrawn and confused. Something like the above. Thank you. So going back to the Barbies, because we kind of got off, but I had to show where, she did have her hands in this book. And so she likes to blame people when she gets called out or she gets caught in a lie. Then, for instance, the book has all these errors. So it's obviously these other people's fault. It's not her fault because she wasn't able to write this book. She didn't have any say in it. Obviously that's a lie, because she did. She was emailing, she was doing phone calls about this book. Then when you go back and you listen to the phone call with her father about the preliminary hearing, she tells him, she's telling her attorney, she's telling Rod, "I was just so drugged, I don't even remember talking to Nick about this stuff, blah, blah, blah." Of course, because the whole time she was telling Rod and Christy, "I'm completely innocent. Don't listen to what the news is saying. The news is telling, they're lying. I'm not, I don't have any involvement in this." And then, like Rod said, they were blindsided in court with the evidence that was presented. So, I mean, it's just, it's the same song and dance with this girl. She always lies about stuff. So anyway, going back to the Barbies, I have a clip here where, Dee Dee's telling Gypsy to play with her Barbies while she's at the doctor's office.
We'd be going to the doctor. She would do all the talking. I'd always have a stuffed animal or a Barbie doll. She'd just tell me, "Just play with my Barbie doll."
Now that is from her Mommy, Dead, and Dearest documentary as well. Which is it, Gypsy? Were you not allowed to play with Barbies? Because there seems to be sufficient evidence here to show that you were allowed to play with Barbies at all ages at this point in time. It seems like you could play with Barbies, but you keep telling people you weren't allowed to. Here is an email that she sent to someone while she was in prison stating that her future daughter would have the dollhouse that she never had. "So I had a friend go to Walmart and take some pictures of what the new Barbies look like these days. And oh my God, I love how diverse they all are. All races, some with disabilities. Like, this is amazing. I give mad props to Mattel for taking this, step into a more acceptable world where every child can see herself in a doll. Aurora Rose will have the dream house I never had." And then here is a picture of Dee Dee and Gypsy with a big old dollhouse. And these gentlemen donated this dollhouse to her. I mean, that's a pretty nice dollhouse, wouldn't you say? I bet if she had to pay for it, it probably would have been expensive. So I also have a clip of a podcast here that her and her ex-husband Ryan did when they were still together, March 15th, 2024. She was on Talk is Jericho. She stated that she never had a cake with numbered candles or candles
Keeping my
on
own
it.
age from me.
That's crazy.
Because when I was little, growing up, we didn't use the numbered candles. Like, that was not a thing in my home.
Okay, right.
So when it came around that it was my birthday, she would wish me happy birthday, but she wouldn't tell me how old I was. And then if I'd overhear it, I would confront her. I would ask her, I'm like, Mom, I thought that I was turning 13, today.
So here is a picture. The first picture I have of Gypsy is with a birthday cake with a numbered candle on it. And that looks like a number 8 to me, but I'm really not, and I can't really tell, but it does look like a number 8 to me. And the second picture of Gypsy is with a birthday cake with candles on it. And I counted the candles, and it seemed like there was 10, maybe 11 candles on the cake. But I mean, there's her numbered cake and candles. And yeah, it's 2 pictures, but still, she said she didn't have them. Clearly she did. This was one of the last things that Dr. Phil said to Gypsy when he interviewed her.
But then you should spend the rest of your life making up for it.
I will.
When she was released from prison, you would have thought that a person like Gypsy Rose would want to come out of prison and acclimate herself to real freedom, get to know the family that she was reunited with, learn how to properly adult in life. No. That's not how she came out. She ended up marrying a guy named Ryan while she was still incarcerated. She came out of prison like she was some kind of celebrity. She had a reality TV show with Lifetime called Life After Lockup with Gypsy Rose. The only way I can really describe it is it was like an embarrassment. It showed her leaving Ryan, going back to Ken, who was a prison romance before Ryan, getting pregnant by Ken while she was still married to Ryan. I mean, it really just showed her being a train wreck. She had no one around her to really guide her. She put herself in the spotlight because she thought she was some kind of celebrity, and all she's known for is killing her mom. Since Gypsy's been out of prison, it's my opinion that she hasn't changed. She keeps saying she's grown from her mistakes, but I surely don't see it. I also don't consider murder a mistake. I'm sure she thought that none of this evidence would come out because she took her plea, and I know she never thought her prison emails would be released. See, Gypsy, had you just come out of prison quietly, none of this probably would be coming out. There's an actual community known as the Gypverse for content creators over on TikTok and YouTube, and the people that follow Gypsy, whether you're for or against her. This is Gypsy's most recent activity online. She doesn't have public accounts anymore, according to her, so she makes these things and she has other people publish them for her. Here, she is making fun of the TikTok creators that cover her or do Gypsy Rose content. The 3 on the top, from left to right, are Skip. The one in the middle is Honey something, I'm not familiar with her, and then Amber J. The bottom 2 are Keish and Nina, Flawless Nina. This little cosplay session is very reminiscent of her cosplay session back in 2015 with Nick. Starting at the top, from left to right, we have Kitty, then we have Ruby, and then we have Candy. The bottom 2 are Demona. The difference between these 2 dress-up situations is now Gypsy has an 8-month-old child. I also have to say, reading the text, the prison emails are, some of the prison emails are very reminiscent to her text messages between her and her co-defendant. Since she's been out of prison, she claims Nick is the one that was sexual, into role play and BDSM. With some of the evidence being released in her case, she is saying Nick forced her to do these things, the things that she, is talking about in her book. And there's been some FOIA documents that have been released. And so she's saying that Nick forced her to do these sexual things and forced her to do these videos. I have an email dated February 2nd, 2021, where she's telling a male suitor that she likes to be bitten. She says, LOL, relax, relax. I was teasing you. Yeah, the existence of my freak side is I like being bitten. That's all. I'm not quite sure who she's talking to there, but she, like I said, she was talking to a male suitor. And so here is a little clip of Nick's interrogation video where he's talking about Gypsy told him fighting was a turn on.
There's no crime there. If you're the one that's wanting to do this and she's agreeing to it, there's no problem with that. So there's no need for you to, don't lie to me and say she wanted it if she didn't. It's okay if you wanted it.
I know, okay. But I'm just telling you how it actually was. Okay. Which was, the very first time she whispered in your ear that was a turn on of hers is biting.
Okay.
And that's when I bit. What part of her was it I bite though? Because I know. Oh my gosh! Because I only remember I bit her twice.
Okay.
The first time I can't remember. The second time I can remember though because I bit her a lot harder the second time.
So here she's telling one of her male suitors that she purchased $5 worth of porn, audio porn, because she's a dirty girl. I do know who she's talking to here, but because he's not public, I will not say who she was talking to. So I just bought $5 of audio porn. LOL. I'll explain later. I'm a very dirty girl. I have another email here from her telling one of her male suitors she wants to try furry sex. She says, I have decided I want to try furry sex. My suit will be a pink husky with cleavage. What do you want to be? By the way, my wing is on quarantine. So this was during, I think, COVID. So here are the text messages between her and Nick. The first set of text messages are just from Gypsy to Nick. And basically, she's just telling him, she had a dream about him giving her oral sex. And the next set of text messages, it's Gypsy and Nick going back and forth. Basically, Gypsy sent Nick a text on May 30th, basically wanting him to diddle her skittle on the bus back to Wisconsin. She said, will you give me my first orgasm soon, my love? Will you finger me on the bus? I desire pleasure too, hun. Defend it, which is Nick. I mean, he's like, I don't know about that, He responded, hun, I may be naughty on the bus, but it just depends on the moment. Depends on how naughty, hun. I mean, you could tell he was just kind of like, what? What are you talking about? I don't know. Anyway, I also have a deposition here from Dan Gladwell. Dan is the fella before Nick. Okay. He gave testimony on behalf of Nick Godejohn's appeal dated April 28, 2021. Here, he states that Gypsy was very sexually experienced. He is the one that Gypsy ran away to be with in 2011. So basically, this is saying that Dan has agreed to testify on behalf of Nick. It says, Mr. Gladwell will testify that he met Gypsy Blanchard at VisionCon in Springfield, Missouri in early 2011. He will testify that they communicated by Facebook or cell phone. Gypsy switched her Facebook accounts and usernames often. She still does. She still switches her accounts often. She deletes her or deactivates her accounts, reactivates her accounts, deactivates, reactivates. It's crazy. During this time period, they engaged in sexting and sent sexually explicit content to one another. Gypsy knew what she was doing sexually. In contemplating having sexual intercourse together, Gypsy told him that she did not need her wheelchair and can move around like any normal girl. Gypsy sent him naked images of herself, including images of her masturbating with a toothbrush. He will testify that Dee Dee called him and told him to stay away from Gypsy, claiming she was underage, but Gypsy claimed she was over 18 and had identification to prove her age. This was 2011. 2011, she was 19 years old, and she's saying here she's got identification to prove her age. At one point, he stopped communicating with her because of the age question. Gypsy continued to contact him, pleaded with him to stay in contact with her, and continued to insist she was of age. So here's a screenshot of Nick Godejohn's appeal paperwork that was filed April 28th, 2021, and it was regarding videos that was sent to Nick, basically. It states, in another video compilation that runs just over 19 minutes and is dated January 24, 2014, she tells Nicholas that she dreams about him, and though other men hit on her, she only wants him. She explains that he is perfect to her, and when Nicholas looks at her, it's like he sees every thought in her head and sees her emotions. They are soulmates and perfect for each other. She has sex with herself in both videos using a toothbrush in one. In an 8-minute video dated August 11, 2014, Damona addresses Nicholas as her slave and informs him there are new rules and her punishment of him will be extreme. She will cause him pain by making him strip and raping him with a strap on. Damn, Gypsy. No wonder your teeth are rotten out of your head. You use your toothbrush for everything but your teeth. Goodness gracious. Let's not forget season 2, episode 5 of Life After Lockup, when Gypsy and Bree go to Not Me, an adult boutique.
Came up with, say, the adjustable fun ring. This, it actually spins and vibrates. It's like a little thing. Wow, it's actually kind of nice. Has he ever tried a ring before?
No, I don't think so. Like,
Okay.
I'm the most like adventurous girlfriend that he's had, so I'm the freak. So
We sell sexual wellness here. Happiness.
Gypsy, nobody would care what you're into, but the fact is you want to crucify Nick and kick him when he's already down. You wrote about him in your book and have villainized him to the public. You are always the victim, regardless of the situation, and you never take accountability for your actions. Leave Nick alone. Because of you, he is stuck in prison for the rest of his life. The best thing you could do for him is to not even speak his name. It doesn't matter if there's people out here screaming justice for Nick or doing stuff, for justice for Nick. Nick's never getting out of prison. He's just not. And so leave the man alone. He did this crime for you. You asked him to kill your mom. He wasn't mentally well. He did what you asked him to do. Leave the man alone. Don't crucify him. Don't kick him when he's down. Just leave him alone. It's pretty simple. And I believe I know who this email is to, but I'm not 100%, so I'm not going to name names or anything like that. But this is an email that's outbound to an unidentified person. It says, I take pride in knowing that I introduced you to new erotic experiences such as going to Love Works and trying toys and things. Because the truth is, you've had experience with others, and I'm sure everything has been done and done multiple times, even with the same partner, that I just like having the opportunity to be the first to open your eyes to new things. So she was being the first to somebody open their eyes to new things, going to, I guess, sex shops and, toys and all that good stuff. This is the last email that I want to share with you. It did appear that Dee Dee had male suitors herself, and Gypsy didn't like that. This is an outbound email, And I believe she was writing to the person that was doing her book because she was talking about a faded memory. It says, I had remembered a faded memory from when I was very little, maybe about 5. Mom had a friend named Mark. He liked her and he fixed a room at his place for her and I. I didn't like him, and so I spit on him. I only wanted my dad and mom to get back together, and I was not happy with any guy that liked her otherwise. I sometimes feel like I deserve what happened because I guess if I wasn't happy with her being with another man and dad moved on with Christy, then she felt I was stopping her from having a life with anyone else, so her focus was on me. My mom did love another man besides my dad. His name was Blank. He is married now, but she loved him. And so Dee Dee did have male suitors, and Gypsy didn't like that. And so this email was dated August 22nd, 2021. So, I mean, it was only 4 years ago that she was talking about this. You know, Gypsy lied to her mom about not being able to walk. She lied to the public about her mom, about Barbie dolls and birthday cakes. This girl's a known liar, and she admits it. Why does anyone believe her now? If she will lie to her own mother about not being able to walk and lie to the media and public about her mother, birthday cakes, and Barbie dolls, you don't think she'd lie to the media and public about killing her mother and why? It is my opinion that Dee Dee did not have Munchausen's by proxy, and I feel like I proved it here with the evidence I was able to provide. If Gypsy kept it from her mom that she could walk, it's hard telling what else Gypsy was telling her mom or not telling her. I would say ask Dee Dee, but she's not here to tell her side. I feel like the email of Gypsy sabotaging her mother's relationship speaks volumes. Also could be the motive to why she pretended not to walk for 13 years and overall her mother's murder. Gypsy stated she wanted her mother to focus her attention on her. Once she grew out of wanting her mother's attention and started wanting male companionship is when Dee Dee became the issue. It's my opinion that there wasn't any abuse. Neither Gypsy nor Nick ever mentioned it in their interrogation. I feel like had Gypsy told Nick that she was being abused by Dee Dee because of his condition, you know, his mental state, he would have said something to Detective Mahali, and he didn't. And I also don't think he would have called Dee Dee a good mom had Gypsy been being abused by her. Dee Dee wasn't making Gypsy sick. She wasn't over-treating her. She was simply trying to figure out what was going on with her daughter. Here we find out that Gypsy was the one lying about not being able to walk and keeping that from Dee Dee. Gypsy spent a lot of time on the internet communicating back and forth with Nick on Facebook, planning the murder. She spent a lot of time texting on a cell phone that she had, but she couldn't contact the Department of Social Services, the Greene County Sheriff's Office, or the Springfield Police Department. I'm sure all of these agencies have websites too, but Gypsy always had an excuse on why she couldn't do whatever. Dee Dee may not have been a perfect person or a perfect mom, but I don't believe the narrative Gypsy is putting out. I also don't believe Dee Dee deserved the death penalty. Gypsy was judge, jury, and Nick was executioner. I feel like Dee Dee was Gypsy's victim in life, and now she's her victim in death. Gypsy has villainized and dehumanized her mom long enough. It's time to let Dee Dee rest in peace and clear her name of the lies that are being spread. I hope this video was done right by you, Dee Dee. May you rest in peace. Justice for Dee Dee. If you like this video, please be sure to like it on YouTube and share it. We need to get this out there. We need to get the truth out there. We need to clear Dee Dee's name. Thank you for your time.